the 4th Annual Exotic Research Conference. And our final speaker of the day, Dr. Gerard Judd, who is a doctor in research chemistry from Purdue University. He's been a researcher in the industry for 18 years, a professor of chemistry for 33 years, now a retired professor emeritus. Worked at the fluoride laboratory study with Lind Air Products, atomic energy related, Purdue University, phosphates and fluoroorganics. Wright Field, again, more fluoroorganics. Phoenix College, rapid analysis for fluoride in water for 13 years. He's also the author of Good Teeth, Birth to Death, which was published in January of 1999, hence the title of his presentation this evening. Also authored Chemistry, Its Uses in Everyday Life in July of 97. Self-Quizzes for Chemistry and Its Uses, also in July of 97. Chemical Hygiene Plan, April of 98. And it is a noted speaker, writer, radio host, salesman of his and other books. Fighter for truth in practical uses of chemistry, and this evening will give us a demonstration of some of those applications regarding the maintaining and obtaining perfect teeth. I give you Dr. Gerard Judd.
Glad to be back with you this afternoon. It's a great honor to have two people out there in the audience, let alone this large group. You know, I wouldn't be here if you weren't here. You're the most important part of what I want to talk about tonight. For this reason, that you have a desire and a dedication to do something worthwhile in this life. And to take from this, and I'm sure that you're going away from here carrying information which will be valuable to you, to your children, to your grandchildren, to your great-grandchildren, to everyone you meet. I have real confidence that that will come out of this meeting this afternoon. You'll become a good teacher, if you're not already a perfect teacher. So now I'm going to try to bring clearly to your attention how to do something that nobody, unless they have read this book I have, which I wrote, or listened to me on radio, or have talked to it at the post office, or have talked to it with my wife or children, or passed a word on. No one really knows how to have perfect teeth. You hear, it's a matter of genetics. No, it is not. Oh, it's a matter of fluoride use. No, especially not. Teeth are made worse by fluoride. Oh, it's a matter of flossing. No, it is not. I flossed once in my life, and I have 75–80% of my teeth. Thank God I've still got that many, even through my ignorance of all those years. I was just lucky to be raised on a farm where things worked out. So, we'll dive right into it now. How does anyone keep perfect teeth? You know, you can go up to the post office and tap somebody on the shoulder now. You started to hear this. And you're going to say to them, I have something to tell you. Now, maybe a lady or maybe a guy, doesn't matter. What is it? Well, this crazy chemist from Arizona thinks he knows how to stop all cavities in the whole world. He does? What does he say? He says the only thing that destroys teeth are acids. And then, that person has a big light going in their brain. Acids, of course. Nobody told me. I know that acids eat the skin, they eat zinc, they eat iron, they eat the hair. Why wouldn't they eat the teeth? And you're smiling at them. And they look at you. I kind of like this person. They told me something that I needed to know. You're making a friend. Then you go on and you say, and you know, it's really weird. He says because there are billions of animal and human remains on Earth, and the flesh is all gone, the bacteria and viruses have been there apparently. The only thing that's left are the teeth and the bones. And another light goes on in their brain, and you're still smiling, still making friends with an enemy. And because they've seen a skeleton, they've seen the teeth, they've seen the bones. They know that what you're saying is true. And you've facilitated their teaching to someone else. And if anything is needed in this country and everywhere, is for people to facilitate their teaching to someone else. I don't know anything that's more important. I got 11 children, so I know something about the importance of my wife's teaching. Not mine, but my wife's teaching. So, that's the first thing. Acids destroy the teeth. Grapefruit, oranges, lemons, strawberries, raspberries, gooseberries, cranberries, soda pop, beer, whiskey, wine, tomatoes, pineapple, kiwi fruit. All these acids eat the phosphate right out of the teeth. They teach us that the phosphates are soluble in acid in school and not in water. They never say a word about teeth. What they are, I don't care anything about that. It's just, hey, calcium phosphate dissolves in acid. So now you know the truth about calcium phosphate, that it is the teeth. There's no carbon or hydrogen in teeth, the enamel. So you don't have to worry about anything except acids. And if you rinse them off, that's another thing that is very important. In chemistry we learn, not very much, but we learn that acids have a positive ion, it's called. It's a charged particle. And phosphate is a negative particle. And the two of them get together, form HPO4, it looks like water. It dissolves in water. Because now you have HPO4 instead of PO4. That dissolves in water. That makes us, that's the sense of it. So now you know how to explain to people what happens as far as the phosphate is concerned. Out of the calcium phosphate in the teeth. And of course, when the acid pulls the phosphate out, here comes the calcium along with it. These little holes in enamel. And that hole better be replaced or else you start beginning of a cavity. Well, that's the most important part. And teeth all over the world would be perfect, almost perfect, if they did that. By the way, there's an example downstairs of a gentleman I just talked to from Toledo, Ohio. He works on beet. When I told him about this, he says, just take a look at it. Beautiful, shiny, pearly teeth. He said, you don't have one cavity. Not one. He says, yeah, I know it. Got good teeth. And his teeth aren't worn down, like the dentists say, if you brush too much, they'll worn. I said, have you brushed during your life? Yes. How come your teeth are no? The brush would never wear down the teeth. The hardness is 1/20th of the hardness of the teeth. You could brush all your life and it wouldn't wear them down. That's a story of the dentistry. And I said, I know why you have good teeth. What is it? You rinse with water during a meal. See, water grabs a hold of H plus acid and forms H3O plus hydronium ion, they call it. So all acids react chemically with water right now. It's down the throat, off the teeth, and then save the enamel. See, chemistry is a time thing. And if you can save your enamel by rinsing with water, it's saved for the rest of your life, or the rest of my life. I still have problems. I look at soda pop. Shall I drink it down fast, or should I drink it with water? Pop water, pop water, pop water, pop water. And I do drink a pop once in a while. Not very. Anyway, I do. So that's the first thing. Now you have something to hang on to. Don't ever worry about bacteria eating the teeth. They can't. Don't ever worry about any other food hurting your teeth. It can't. You chew them up and you swallow up, that's the end of it. There's no acid there to handle teeth. Isn't that outstanding? You can forget bacteria, which is false dentistry. They say that streptococcal mutans eat the teeth. Impossible. It's not happening. There's not time in the mouth for the bacteria to eat anything. Like sugar, they say, and it eats sugar and makes acid and it eats it. Nonsense. That's more nonsense in the dental profession. The other one, fluoride helps the teeth. It makes them worse. It destroys the enzymes. It makes colors in the teeth, white color. And what else? Oh, it severs the gums from the teeth. The dentists admit that in the journals. I read 10 years of the journals. It destroys the connective tissue holding the gums to the teeth and all the enzymes of our body. Every one. Now let's go on to the next step. The next step is you want the teeth clean if they rebuild, because over the lifetime there is leaching going on. Now, leaching means that for something means that you're pulling something out. So that's enough for that. So over the lifetime, a little bit of a tiny bit of the calcium phosphate will dissolve. And it's so small, it's insignificant. You know. So, but you don't have to worry about that if you will rebuild the teeth. Now you have to have clean teeth or they won't rebuild. You can't have a layer or something on the teeth and expect the calcium and the phosphate to get back in that hole, which is emptied out. So you start brushing with hand soap. Palmolive, Dial, Zest, Ivory Brothers, Lever Brothers, Motel 6, Paradise Parkway Motel, Hawthorne Motel, Heritage Motel. Many of those bars are perfect. The way they're made in the laboratory, I know how they're made. It's no big deal. You take fat and crack it too, make glycerin and soap, and the soap then is what floats to the top with a little salt in the water. And it's so magnificent because one end is water soluble and the rest of it is organic soluble, and it cleans everything off the teeth, the oils and everything. You know how it is when you wash your hands. With soap they're clean. Oh, we should have discovered a long time ago when you wash the teeth with soap, they're clean. And in Kenya, this guy told me that's all they use to brush the teeth with is soap. And I said, why? He says, because we don't have any toothpaste. What an honor for Kenya. And he had good teeth. Oh, they're marvelous. And they don't have so many acids to fool with. So you brush the teeth with hand soap, and it gets the oils off the teeth. It does a good job. And it disinfects the gums. Now, I learned this way. I was a teacher. We took the kids over to Tempe to show them this aquaculture place where they had vegetables growing in water. You know, beautiful crops, protected, and about 1/5 the water, or 1/10 the water that you need for plants. But there they also had these flies that would come in and attack these vegetables and things. So they didn't want to spray a poison around, so what they did is spray safer soap. And I thought, probably don't work when I was there. But one day I said to myself, all these flies on my okra, I can't take it. Just covered with these white flies. I don't know how to get rid of them. I can't squeeze it to death. I don't want to spray my plants with a lot of insecticide to kill the plants. And I thought, oh, soap. So I put 1 teaspoonful of dishwater soap, liquid. I don't use the liquids on your teeth, and I put that in a quart of water. I went outside and I didn't have a sprayer at that time. I just poured a little more water, threw it on. Green flies, you know. In 30 minutes, they were all gone. Dead. It makes them so wet that they internally stick themselves or something else. It wipes them out. And bacteria does the same. You brush your teeth, you can't believe how good it takes care of your infection. It's gone. So I do that every day. Well, twice a day usually. I mean, sometimes it's once a day. It's not a very good practice. It should be after each meal to rinse the oils off so your teeth can re-enamelize. So now we've got that. You know how to make the teeth clean. We know what they're made of, calcium phosphate. We know that acids eat calcium phosphate up, so we avoid that with water or milk or coffee, something was like that. Now the next step is, where are we going to get the calcium and the phosphate for the teeth to rebuild? Wonderful stores we have nowadays. I mean, they're marvelous. I mean, all the food stores, the Walgreens drug stores, which are making one on every corner, all the things that they make themselves, they put up themselves to make cheaper for me. I buy stuff, I don't waste money if I can help it. So, the phosphate, the calcium, you can go to Walgreens and buy the pills, for $0.05 a pill. It's got vitamin D in it to carry it around like they have in milk or stuff, and it carries it around the body. The vitamin D's got a little group on it. It helps to carry it around in the vascular system, or anyhow your fluid system. So you can get that easy. It's cheap, no more than $0.05 a pill. I mean, you know, that's a cheap breakfast. And then the other one, there's no supplement store around for phosphate. And it was some time before I learned what the supplement, where I could get it, or what it was. And this guy was in St. Louis, Missouri, was a cattleman. He says, you know what? We feed sodium phosphate to the cattle all the time. It makes good bones, teeth, healthy cattle. Like I'm adding to it myself, probably healthy shoulders, healthy rumps, because it makes DNA. Phosphate is in DNA and RNA, and it's very important to our health, and there are no health food stores around. Did you know that? You ever looked for phosphate, sodium phosphate? But I have a telephone, which, well, it's in that paper he's going to bring it with me now. Do you have that paper? And then you can write it down. No use waiting, you know, write it down, and you can order it from the supplement chemical supply house. I take some every day, very valuable. Phosphate, the telephone number is 800-344-2047.
I made the same mistake.
The Springfield Scientific Company in Springfield, Oregon. And it's more than a pound, it's 500 grams. And I eat less than a gram a day, about that much, a fifth of a teaspoon. Like that. I just pour it in my hand, it's nice and powdered. Well, it's not a powder, it's granules. And put it in a glass, a little water, 30 seconds or less, it's dissolved. I drink it down and I go about my breakfast. Marvelous. Now you got a supplement for phosphate. It's everywhere in the body. Your bones, our bones, my thick skull, in the brain, like I said, DNA, RNA, and they make proteins for our body, and 33 enzymes. I have a list of 33 enzymes in my book that fluoride destroys, but that phosphate helps to make in the body. The body doesn't make phosphate. It doesn't make, oh well, leave it at that. So the body will make some of the other compounds that incorporate it, feed it to the teeth, and make this beautiful, flexible enamel that you can just say that's marvelous that we have it. Our Creator made enamel specially for us. The bacteria can't touch it. The parasites can't touch it. He didn't count on us knocking our teeth out with a hammer or a car. But it's marvelous, the method that He gave us to keep these teeth and bones too. So now you know those things, how to replace the enamel in the teeth daily, and you'll have you won't be one cavity your whole life. Not one. I have no doubt at all. None. And you have no gum infection if you do one more thing. We talked about the soap killing the bacteria. If you have good, let me tell you how you get gingivitis. It's an ignorance word. I mean, people talk about it, but they don't know how you get it. They told me in the dental books how you get it. The dentists were saying in the dental journal that I read, one of 10 years that I was reading each month. Have you noticed that recently there are many gum pockets in the patients that you treat? Sometimes these are 1 millimeter, sometimes they're 2 millimeters, sometimes they're 3 millimeters, or even as much as 8 millimeters. 8 millimeters, let's see, is about 1/5 of an inch. That's quite a little pocket down in there between the teeth. It's caused by toothpaste, which works, well, the enamelization goes down in the water at the bottom of the gums because it can't get into the tooth. And that's where it forms and it's dirty anyway because of toothpaste, and it forms crystals on the teeth. That's plaque. Bad crystals on the teeth. Not bacteria, bad crystals on the teeth. And so, that's what toothpaste does. Fluoride's even worse. It gets in there and it severs the protein. It breaks up all the proteins, it breaks up all the enzymes in the body. Fluoride does. For a special reason. And I want to tell you what that reason is. Because it's kind of special. I never did learn it. Going to teaching, 4 different schools I was at. I never did learn it from my teachers or my education, but somehow after a period, it came to me. I know why fluoride does what it does. Now the first thing it gave me a clue. This research chemist got some X-ray pictures of fluoride reacting with an enzyme. And he observed it breaking a hydrogen bond in that enzyme. I said, oh great, I'll call him up and see what else he has to say. I called him up and he denied it. You don't want to talk about fluoride. People don't want to be castigated. They don't want to get in controversy. They don't want to do anything except do their research, do their teaching, their own books, which are out of date. They only. Okay, now this is the reason why. Fluoride does break the enzymes up. That's number one I found out first. Then I began thinking from my school experience, why is fluorine almost the smallest element on the face of the earth? And this is the way it goes. Now let's see. Hydrogen's here and helium's over here. Okay, so here's hydrogen and here's helium. Now helium has 4 particles, 2 neutrons, 2 protons, well 6 particles, and 2 electrons. hydrogen has one electron, one proton. Now, why would helium be smaller? Anyway, why would helium, gotta get it straight, be smaller than hydrogen? More particles. And then you go to the next row, you can't get any more than 2 electrons in the first shell. You go to the next shell and get lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon. And as you go across here, more particles shrink, more particles shrink, more particles shrink, more particles shrink, more particles shrink. Neon is even smaller than fluorine. Fluorine is almost as small as hydrogen, but it's got 19 particles plus the electrons. Doesn't make sense unless you put some 2 and 2 together. And I put it together, and I never heard this in college. One of my friends at the University of Utah, when I told him about this, he says, BS. And he walked down the hallway and forgot about me. You heard those 2 terms. I didn't hear them till I was 22 years old. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, we won't say that word then. Okay, so arrogance. He was a mathematician. He was a great chemist. He discovered all this and that and the other. But you know, when you a wire, electric wire, what happens to your radio? It conks out, right? Static. Why? Just because it's up there? No. It's because the electrons are going through that wire. Around it. And as a result of their moving, they create this electric field in space. You can't see it, but you know it's there. It's just like it from a magnet. It's there. You can't see it, but it does things. It does lots of things. And so that's an electron field. Now there's a nuclear field that shrinks the atom. 1 electron, 1 proton. It's a pretty good pull. 2 electrons, 2 protons. The protons are spinning. The nucleus, 1/10,000th the size of the atom. And it's creating this electric field, which hunks down electrons. That's why. Because the nucleus has an electric field, it's a positive field, and it hunks down on the atom, and even besides hunking down the electrons, there's a field outside of the atom which will pull other electrons into it. You know that. That's why atoms react. Because there's a positive field. The electrons don't pull electron in because they repel each other, but the field pulls them in. The same thing, that's why fluoride is small. It's the smallest particle on the face of the earth, almost, except hydrogen. But when you add an electron to hydrogen, and you add one to fluorine, well, anyway, you add one to fluorine, this is smaller than this. Sodium hydride is bigger than sodium fluoride. Now this is highly negative. If you take that charge, that negative charge that's on there from another atom, you know, and you spread it over a basketball, no part of the basketball is going to have a very high charge. Very weak. But when you put it on a particle that's small, it's intense. Fluorine will burn paper. The gas, direct the gas to paper will start it on fire. You don't have to have any match. But the fluoride ion, also being small, negative, it goes in and grabs the enzyme. The enzyme has a coil, beautiful coil of polypeptides, and in between you have like NH and CO, and they form a little bond. Go around, NHCO, NHCO. Now, NH, CO. Imagine what's going to happen if the fluoride ion hits that. The oxygen is what it's going to attack. It's got the electrons. So the fluoride grabs the oxygen and it breaks the bond, and the coil is bent. So it's no longer any good. It could weigh 69,000, it does, or more. But it's no good to the body because it's got the wrong shape. Our enzymes have to have shape. Now do you see what fluoride does? And why it does what it does? Because it's small, because it's negative, and because it can hit a hydrogen bond. Yes?
you know, I found a very powerful value for fluoride. You know what it is? It's the Atomic Energy Commission used it immensely when they were making atomic bombs.
Yeah, they make nickel fluoride. It doesn't, and after you got nickel fluoride, well, then it's the fluoride's covering. Yeah, yeah, they had to put it in the tanks to take care of the fluorine. So now you know the chemistry of it. Hey, you know more than the chemists do, because they don't talk about it. When they get out of school and they're retired, they go on a vacation, they forget about all of it. One of my friends is a research chemist at Purdue, and he worked for, I don't know, it was Dow or somebody. And he says, when I got retired, I threw all my books away and all my chemistry, and I'm through with it. Well, he's dead now, but that's the way a lot of people do. It's nonsense, you know. Well, coming back now to this question of how you take care of the gums. We've taken care of the teeth now. We've rebuilt the calcium phosphate. We've made the teeth clean to do that. We kept the acids from destroying enamel. The final thing is to rebuild the gums back to the teeth. Also, for some of you had a bad back, to build the connective tissue in the back. Vitamin C does that. And in the neck. And it does so many things. Forget but vitamin C is precious, the things that it does. And I have a method of taking it, which I hope you'll run down and get some tonight or tomorrow. Buy it from Trader Joe's, 1 pound for $10, the cheapest in the world. Come home, and then you open it, well, and you take 1 level teaspoon, put it in a glass, then you go and get Arm & Hammer baking soda out of the cupboard. Put 1/2 teaspoon in there in the glass. It's 2 solids. Then you put 1 inch of water, and it fizzes. Shh. Good experiment. Show kids, show your mother, show your father. Why not do some chemistry in the kitchen? And that carbon dioxide comes off. Shh. And then you won't have any carbonic acid after you add water to it. Because if you add a lot of water, the carbon dioxide dissolves in water and forms carbonic acid, like soda pop. You don't want any acid. And then, you know what I did with this stuff after I made it? I said, I'm going to see if I can make some crystals. I evaporated by letting it sit in the kitchen for a while. And then, put it in the fridge. I didn't get any crystals. I put it in the fridge. Left it for a day or 2, no crystals. Took it out again, let it evaporate for 3 or 4 days. No crystals. Put it back in the fridge to cool it, see if it come out. No crystals. I did this for, I don't know, weeks. And that water evaporated. No crystals. And finally, when all the water was off, all that solid came out. That sodium ascorbate, that's what you're making from vitamin C, ascorbic acid, and baking soda. You're making that, and it's so soluble, it's amazing. I'm sure it's 1,000 times more soluble than vitamin C. So why wouldn't you make it? And I also worked in the lab a little with it, tried to titrate it, and I find out that it's extremely reactive compared to vitamin C, so it does better in all if it's wonderful gifts of making connective tissue for the back and the neck and the body, Achilles tendon and so on. And by the way, phosphate, I'm sure says it makes proteins, is also involved in that. So anyway, you now know how to take vitamin C. Best way in the world. I don't think you can beat it. Now in this book, I just covered how you have perfect teeth. But it tells in here, what are the colors in the teeth and why are they there? Brown, green, black, dark brown, violet? Why are those colors there? And it tells you in here why they're there. Also in here it tells you about the work in India and Japan and Tucson. What's the other place? Japan, Tucson, India, United States. They studied all these school children on fluoride. And the fact, to get right to the facts, the curves which are in here, the only place in the world, find it, show that if you have 1 part per million fluoride, in Japan the cavities increase 7%, in Tucson 43%, the United States 10%, and in India 29% increase when you have 1 part per million fluoride in the water. Proof, you know, you can't deny. Also, in here are 113, I guess it is, ailments caused by fluoride. And 10 of those are double-blind studies done in Holland by 60 patients, 12 physicians, 1 attorney, and 1 pharmacist to be sure they didn't cheat. Proof. Proof. No question at all. And then I have a list of the enzymes that fluoride destroys at real low levels. I went to the library. I spent a lot of time in the library writing. Then I go back and I type it up. And I'm not very good at typing either, but you know, I got it. So anyway, those enzymes are in the book on 1 page. 1 page. So you have that. And then there's 41 page index. And then there's, it says with added section on dementia from dentistry. Now dementia in the old days meant if you got something wrong with your brain, it'll never cure. Nowadays they think something can cure, you know, brain trouble. And I do, you know, but it's not easy. But in here, dementia caused through the mercury and the fluoride of dentistry. And it's a serious matter. And how some people get over it. That's a good thing. So that explains pretty much my reason for being here, your reasoning for listening, so you can teach others. And with that, I'll just take questions. Yes.
Years ago, I tried soap. I don't know why. To burn my teeth. But I didn't like the taste. I didn't continue. But I'll go home tonight to try it. I haven't tried it again.
Good.
There's a new soap out that's called peppermint soap by Dr. Rodman. I think that ought to be okay.
Is it a solid?
It's liquid. So good.
You don't know what it's in there, and peppermint oil is an oil.
It says what the ingredients are. Why would it not be good? Well,
Okay, first of all, it's a liquid. You don't know if there's any glycerin or how much or half of it or anything else. The second, now that may not be bad if you knew exactly what's in it. But then it has peppermint oil. Can you mix oil and water? So it gets on the teeth, and you have to rinse it not 27 times, but 50 times to get it off. So it's not desirable. Any bar is fine going. Like it's no big deal. I did it last night, you know, it's no big problem. You know, I carried, you know, water, honey water, 2 or 3 swipes over the bar. You gotta do it long enough. Just don't want to tear them up. Bacteria love them anyway. And then just rinse your mouth out with water, you know. Clean as a whistle. And it's a pleasant experience, really. Some people have said, why don't we make a toothpaste that tastes good? It has sugar in it, it has this and that. I thought of it for a while, maybe a good idea, and then I gave it up. Why? We got hundreds of soaps. They're all prepared for us. We don't need it. Yes?
What about glycerin soap? Glycerin soap?
Liquid?
No, bar.
Is it colorless?
No.
Does it just have a little bit of glycerin or a lot, you know?
You know, I don't know. I've been buying glycerin soap though, because I was told once it's a better soap than regular soap.
Well, depends how much glycerin. It's
I just get it at the
either It's either no good as far as glycerin is concerned, too small, or else it's too big as far as glycerin is concerned for the
We have our
coating
here,
enamel.
we do a lot of things.
But any bar, any other bar,
A lot of things.
I would kind of try to avoid it, because there's so many bars, I tell you.
Does it-
Does it matter if the bar is perfumed? Because I would think whatever they use to add the aroma or the perfume to the bar wouldn't be good.
Well,
for-
no, because it's a small amount. It takes maybe 1/10%, something like that, and the soap will take it right off, because there's 99 or 8% soap in there. It's off. So the little tiny bit that you add, I would say, from my experience, my knowledge, don't worry about it.
Homemade bar soap is perfect.
Yeah, take some fat and lye and heat it up, throw the lye in there and warm it a little hotter, crack it in two, give glycerin in the water, soap is here, and you throw salt in and it floats to the top, you rinse it off, make the bars, perfect. That's the way they make soap, by the way, in the factory. So we know what it is. It's so neat. We have all these tools now to take care of the teeth. Other questions? Yes.
I thought I heard you say anytime an atom or particle takes on electrons, it actually shrunk in size.
Will you repeat your question? I didn't quite hear.
Okay, he was talking about helium, hydrogen, fluorides, and you said, I thought you said, anytime that an atom or a particle took on electrons, negative electrons, and you said it shrunk, so even though it had more...
No.
I didn't quite understand
See,
that part.
we're talking about two different things. One proton, one electron, one proton, one electron. Not an extra one. One proton, one electron. One proton, one electron.
Right.
And there's still a space in the atom that can fill from another atom.
Right, I
When that
understand
fills, then that makes a shield, a slight shield, taking part around the particle. It's an extra electron. But as far as the building of the atom, one electron, the next one, two atoms, and two particles, two electrons, or neutrons in there too. Anyway, as you go across, the proton shrinks the atom more than the electron expands it. The electron does expand the atom, but the proton is overwhelming. It's good, it's spinning, whatever it's doing down there, that's magnificent. And the thing is 1/10,000th the size of the atom. You know, it's just a thrill to even think about it. Do you have another question, anyone?
Over here. Is there anything that the dentist or the hygienist does that's not good for our teeth? Or like, aside from brushing with soap, if you go to the dentist and the hygienist, I don't know, they use...
Would you like me to list them?
Almost everything.
Well, we want to know your teeth, don't we?
Yeah.
Number one, they tell you that if you brush your teeth, they wear them down. Not so. Not so. They tell you that if you use fluoride, it helps the teeth. Not so. They tell you that mercury is non-toxic. Really bad.
Even I know that.
Especially the vapor. Kill you. That's another one. They tell you also that you have receding gums. No, you have gum pockets. And if you'll take the soap and knit them back to the teeth, there won't be any gum pockets. You won't have to have your roof of your mouth cut to fill that in. That's another one. I mean, they got more false stuff in there.
Do they put, I guess the hygienist, they usually put some sort of paste over the teeth, I guess to clean
To
them?
harden them,
I don't know, maybe, oh, is that what
and it
they-
kills you. There was a kid killed in McMinnville, Oregon, 3 years ago. No, about 4 years ago.
You're talking about cleaning?
Because he
Yeah.
swallowed some of it.
That's a pumice-based
It's called a gel.
abrasive.
A pumice base, and what does it, I guess it's not good.
Volcanic rock, never really good on enamel.
Well, there are quite a few things like that, but I could go on for quite a little bit about that, but why worry about the negative stuff? We know how to do the positive stuff now. Any other questions you might have? And thank you.
Tough, no more questions.
Thank you for your great attention. set them on the chair, and it tells you exactly how to have perfect teeth.
Oh, you're gonna give me one of those now.
And you can come and pick them up when I put them on the chair.
Your book, sir?